I never knew my parents would betray us like this. What I saw left me heartbroken. I still remember the chill that crept down my spine. The air felt thick, heavy with secrets. My heart raced as I stood outside the old, abandoned warehouse, peering through the cracked glass. The scene inside was nothing short of a nightmare. Dark figures moved in the shadows, their voices low, urgent. I felt the tremble in my hands as I pressed closer. It was a world I didn't belong to. A world that didn't belong to me. My mind reeled. Who were they? What were they doing? I never imagined I would witness something so sordid, something so wrong. As I watched, the flickering light of a candle illuminated a familiar figure. My father. I could hardly breathe. His laughter felt jagged, sharp like shattered glass. He stood shoulder to shoulder with people I'd only heard whispers about. Those whispers were fear's strange stories I had dismissed, but now, they danced before my eyes. My mother joined them, her smile a twisted mask. Why was she even there? The warmth I had known as her love was suddenly cold, like frost creeping into my bones. Right then, my world cracked. They talked about betrayals, conspiracies, plans that slithered deeper into the darkness. I felt nauseous. Each word they spoke echoed in my brain. Why didn't I see this before? Were those kind smiles, the bedtime stories, all just covers for something sinister? Tears blurred my vision as I stumbled back, my heart hammering against my chest. I turned to leave, afraid they would sense my presence. But as I did, a loud crash shattered the stillness. In that moment, my body froze. They turned. I held my breath, praying. Would they notice me? Would they follow? I didn't just see them, they saw me too. Time ticked away in agonizing silence. If I ran, I could escape, but what about my brother? What about the family I thought I could trust? The family that was now slipping through my fingers. What was about to unfold could change everything. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I stood frozen, heart racing, as uncertainty engulfed me. The beam of light from within the warehouse flickered and danced, chasing away the shadows but drawing all my fears into sharper focus. Every silhouette contorted into something sinister, and my father's laughter echoed like a death knell in my ears. I wanted to scream, to run, but an invisible force pinned me to the spot, locking me into this irrevocable moment of truth. As the figures inside continued their hushed dialogue, my breath hitched. I had to know more. Were they discussing the plans that could endanger everyone I loved? My heart thudded against my ribcage with a frantic rhythm that wouldn't cease, feeding the urgency in my veins. The candlelight flickered again, and I squinted, trying to discern the other faces around my parents. Some were unfamiliar, but one stood out starkly. Jared, a kid from school whose shadowy reputation often whispered about the trouble he brought near him. The sightings of my father and him, the laughter and secrets, they all suddenly fit into a darker puzzle I was not meant to see. That a lurching noise drew my attention, causing me to jerk back instinctively. The door of the warehouse creaked open, spilling golden light into the growing night. My heart sank. I couldn't be caught here. I ducked behind a rusted metal dumpster, pulling my knees closer to my chest. All at once, I was a small child again, terrified of the monsters that thrived in the dark. That I cursed myself for initially thinking I could confront my brother later, once I collected my thoughts. But now, thoughts scattered like leaves in a storm. What was he doing right now? Was he safe? Or worse, did he somehow know what I had discovered? In that moment of overwhelming panic, a hand suddenly rested upon my shoulder. I jumped, whirling around to find a disheveled figure standing there. It was Anna, my longtime friend, her wide eyes mirroring my fear. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered hoarsely, glancing toward the warehouse. "How did you?" I started but was interrupted by the world around us. She shook her head, urging me away from the warehouse, back into the comforting darkness of an alley. "It doesn't matter. We need to go," she insisted. Her voice was firm and like a steady anchor, but inside, I was battling tidal waves of betrayal. "What's happening, Anna?" I pressed. She hesitated, the weight of her knowledge pressing against her lips. "I overheard things in town, about your parents and Jared. There are dangerous people involved. They're planning something." My heart twisted, caught between relief for her presence and turmoil from her words. "What are they planning? Why would they?" "Your brother, Alex. They want him to be part of it," she whispered urgently, her brow knitting in worry that I felt the earth beneath me shift violently. "Alex? No." My thoughts collided 1,000 fears and all-consuming anger. "No, they wouldn't. They can't." I blurted, desperation clawing at my throat. "I don't know the details," Anna said, squeezing my arm, "but things are worse than we thought. We need to warn him." And then, just as that flicker of determination ignited in my chest, a harsh shout erupted from the warehouse, slicing through the night. "Search the perimeter. Find whoever is lurking out there." The fear gripped my insides like a vice. They were coming for me. I could feel a menacing certainty that their eyes would soon scan the darkened streets for the lost girl who dared venture too close to their secrets. That I pressed my lips together, unshed tears hot against my cheeks. "We need to get Alex out of whatever this is." My voice wavered as I turned to Anna, but her eyes were clouded with uncertainty. "How? What if it's too late?" She replied, doubt crawling into her tone. That I absorbed her words, grasping at the fraying edges of hope. "Then we fight for him. We can't let them take him, too." But before we could make a mad dash for safety, the flickering light from the warehouse pulsed even brighter as the door flung open and shattering laughter spilled out, echoing through the alley, painting dread around us. "Run!" I screamed, grabbing Anna's hand as we fled down the alley with my heart in my throat. Our escape felt like a lifetime overshadowed by the undeniable weight of impending doom. Tearing through the darkness, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What awaited us on this treacherous path could either break us or lead to a reckoning. Until a voice, unnaturally smooth, trailed behind us, cutting through the tension, "You can't run from what's in your blood." I stumbled, fear crashing back into my chest. I felt the icy hand of dread wrapping around my heart, chilling me to the core. There was more to this than I had been prepared for, much more. Secrets lay thick in the air, and right now, they were closing in fast. The adrenaline coursed through my veins as Anna and I plunged deeper into the labyrinth of alleys, pulling me from the edge of panic into a state of sheer survival. The night was thick with shadows, each rustling whisper feeding our frantic pace. My mind raced alongside my pounding heart, thoughts tumbling over one another: Alex, the plan, our parents, Jared. What were the dangerous people thinking? What did they know that we didn't? Where do we even go? I gasped, my breath coming in shallow bursts. Anna's grip tightened around my wrist, the grounding warmth I desperately needed. "To my house. It's close and we can think there," she urged, her eyes darting around as if expecting something sinister to leap from the shadows. Just as we reached the corner of Allen Street, the sound of footsteps echoed behind us. I looked back, dread pooling in my stomach. A group of figures, silhouetted by the streetlight, moved in our direction, their postures lewd and menacing. "Over there." One of them barked, pointing a voice I vaguely recognized, dripping with malice. "Jared." My insides twisted. I wanted to curse him, to scream that he would never touch my brother, but all that escaped was a tight breath caught in my throat. That we bolted past the last few shops on the street, desperation pushing me as Anna led us toward her home, a cozy brick structure smothered in the tendrils of ivy that felt like a hidden sanctuary amidst growing chaos. We bounded through the back gate, slipping inside just in time. Anna locked the door behind us, her expression shifting from terror to fierce resolve. "Are you okay?" Her voice softened as she turned toward me, and for a moment, the world outside faded. I could hardly register her question. A shaky breath escaped me as I leaned against the wall, finally letting myself breathe. "I don't know, Anna." I sputtered, the weight of worry crashing over me anew. "What are they planning? Why Alex? Why us?" Her eyes reflected a mixture of understanding and trepidation. "I don't know everything. But whatever they want, it's not good. I overheard something about a new member and your father talking about sacrifices." I couldn't make sense of it. The mention of sacrifices sent a shiver down my spine. "What sacrifices? What are they doing?" I pressed, my voice barely above a whisper, as if saying the words would conjure their dark intentions. I think they're trying to bring something back," Anna confessed, her voice trembling. "Something powerful, maybe even dangerous. And if they want your brother involved," she trailed off, eyes wide with fear. A heavy silence settled between us, thick as the fog that curled outside, each second pregnant with the threat of impending doom. I could almost feel the chill of shadows creeping in, threatening to suffocate the flickers of hope that still dared to flicker in my heart. Suddenly, my phone buzzed violently against the table. Anna and I exchanged alarmed glances. With shaky hands, I grabbed it, bracing myself for whatever nightmare awaited me. A message from Alex lit up the screen. "Where are you? Mom and Dad are acting weird. Please help." My heart dropped. He knew something was off. "Anna, I have to talk to him," I said urgently, but as I turned my body to face her, the fear etched on her face gave me pause. "What if it's a trap?" she warned, her voice barely a whisper. "We don't know who's watching, who's listening. I can't leave him. What if we're too late? He's in danger." I shot back, the fight for my brother igniting something deep within me. She hesitated, her brow furrowed as the throbbing echo of their footsteps haunted our ears. "You could call him. Just be careful. He might not even know what he's stepping into." Steeling myself, I nodded, caught between the fear of alarming my brother and the desperate hope that I could still protect him. I dialed his number, the ring echoing painfully in the dead air of the room. Each vibration felt like a countdown to disaster. "Alex? It's me," I said as soon as he answered, urgency lacing my voice. "You need to get out of there. Now. It's not safe." A tense silence filled the line like an omen. "What do you mean? What's happening?" he replied, confusion evident. "Just trust me. Don't ask questions. Get to my friend Anna's house." A deafening crash zipped through the line. My heart stopped. "Alex? Are you there? What the hell is going on?" His voice rose, crackling with fear. I felt an overwhelming weight of dread surge through me. Whatever was happening was escalating, and I could only hope it hadn't already swallowed him whole. "I'll be there," he said quickly. "I'm coming." "No. Stay put. They're looking for you." But the line went dead, leaving behind a chilling silence that suffocated me. I slammed the phone against my thigh, unable to process anything beyond the rising panic. "He's coming here, Anna. But he doesn't know what's around him. We have to get to him first." But just as I prepared to burst through the door, Anna grabbed my arm, her expression suddenly grave. "Wait. What if it's a trap? We can't risk no." I shouted, my heart crashing against the steel barricade of fear. "I can't lose him." Before she could respond, the door rattled ominously, a deep voice cutting through the tension. "We know you're in there. You can't hide. Come out." I felt my breath hitch. Time stopped. A reckoning lay just beyond that door, and whatever twisted fate awaited us outside, there was no more room for fear. We would either confront it or face the darkness that threatened to consume our world. "Stay behind me," I whispered, my voice trembling yet resolute. And as the doors slowly creaked open, a final chilling whisper lingered in the back of my mind, "You can't run from what's in your blood." This time, it didn't seem like a warning. It felt like a promise. The door swung open with a mournful creak, revealing a figure partially obscured by the shadows cast from the dim porch light. I squinted, desperate to make out features. What I saw sent a chill racing down my spine. It was Jared, but he wasn't alone. Flanking him were two other men, their faces masked with a furious intensity that mirrored the storm of dread swirling within me. "There you are," Jared growled, brushing past the threshold as if he owned the place. "We know you're mixed up in this, and you need to come with us." Anna pressed herself against the wall, her breath hitching in her throat. I felt paralyzed, caught between instincts to fight and to flee. I couldn't let them take us, couldn't allow them to reach Alex. The stakes were higher than I ever imagined, and a primal energy surged through me, pushing me forward. "Get out of here!" I shouted, the words bursting forth in a desperate plea. "You don't understand what you're messing with." The flicker of uncertainty in Jared's eyes was fleeting. "Oh, we understand perfectly. All the pieces of this little puzzle are coming together, and you're the key." "Key to what?" I spat, my heart drumming fiercely against my ribcage. What did they know of our family's terrible legacy? But before Jared could respond, a commotion erupted on the other side of the alley. Shouting and the sound of footsteps growing louder. "Stay back," he warned, suddenly alert. "We'll deal with you later." With that, they turned and bolted into the night, merging with the darkness like shadows consumed by the night. What was that? Anna breathed, a mixture of panic and urgency. What did they mean? I shook my head, too overwhelmed to provide any semblance of clarity. My thoughts were racing. Our family didn't have secrets like this. Or at least, I had buried them deep inside, hoping to sever those hidden ties to whatever darkness my parents were involved in. The shadows danced eerily around the room, dark thoughts creeping in along with them. Point two, don't know, I managed, my voice shaking as I forced my thoughts to refocus on Alex. What if they go after him? We have to get to him now. Just then, Anna's phone rang, an unexpected intrusion that pierced through the weight of our shared fear. Her face brightened momentarily, but then it fell. "It's my mom," she whispered, panic flooding her expression. "I can't. If she finds out I'm here with you, she'll go crazy." I have to answer. "Are you sure?" "What if it's I need to try?" Anna insisted, pressing the phone to her ear as I paced the room, anxiety tightening my chest. "Hello?" she greeted, her tone shifting from panic to concern instantly. I could hear muffled voices through the line, her mother in a panic, demanding where Anna was, why she hadn't come home. "Mom, I am fine. Just trying to figure things out." "Okay," but Anna's face fell as she listened to her mother's frightened voice. "What do you mean they're coming for me? Who's coming?" "Mom, wait." Suddenly, the static crackled louder, and then the line went dead. Anna's expression hardened as she turned to me, the color drained from her face. "They're doing something. They're after us, and my mom, she doesn't even know." The fear in her eyes mirrored my own as I realized how precarious our situation had become. "Anna, we need to leave now, there's no time to waste," I urged, anxiety clawing at my insides. "Your mom could be in danger too." That we made our way through the kitchen, the shadows in the corners seeming to stretch and lunge at us as we navigated toward the back door. "What if they find her before we can get to Alex?" Anna's voice trembled with the weight of uncertainty. "That I won't let that happen," I promised, though doubt gnawed at the edges of my resolve. As we stepped outside, the heavy air smelled of rain, a storm brewing on the horizon, a fitting backdrop to the turmoil in my heart. Every step toward my brother felt like walking into an abyss where hope flickered like a dying ember. That we moved quickly, wrapping around the narrow alleyways, adrenaline pumping, hearts racing. "What if they're lying?" I voiced, my breath coming in quick bursts. "What if Alex really is in danger? Or worse?" "I know it's terrifying," she replied, her voice almost a whisper. "But we can't let fear dictate our choices. We have to face this together." A small flicker of hope sparked within me. Despite the circumstances, having Anna by my side felt like an anchor in a raging sea, a bond forged through fear and urgency that I never dreamed we would share. But as we rounded the final corner towards my brother's familiar street, a terrible realization hit. Meth Street was eerily quiet. All the windows were dark, like the ominous weight of silence had descended upon the neighborhood. No, no, no. I gasped, my heart sinking into my stomach. It should be lit. He should be home. Where is he? Maybe he's still with friends or trying to hide. Anna suggested, though her voice lacked conviction. A gnawing certainty crept through. Meth quiet felt heavy with dread. No, I said sharply, pushing forward, every instinct screaming that something was wrong. When my hand wrapped around the doorknob, the metallic clang echoed ominously in the emptiness. I turned it slowly, the door creaking open with a hesitant groan that chilled me to the bone. The darkness inside swallowed me whole, a pit of despair looming before me. Alex. I called softly, each syllable tasting like a curse. No response. Desperately scanning the room, I felt something shift behind me, the air thickening like a predator poised to strike. I turned, and my breath caught in my throat. A silhouette stood just outside the door, the outline familiar yet grotesquely twisted. I squinted to see in the faint light. Alex? But the figure stepped forward, and horror swelled within me. It wasn't my brother who stood before us. It was my mother. Except her eyes shimmered with a malevolence I had never seen. You shouldn't have come back, she said softly, but the intent behind her words was as sharp as a knife. And in that instant, a new dread settled deep in my heart. My family was not just tangled in silence. They were the very monsters I feared. The air grew heavy with uncertainty, thickening around us as my mother's presence loomed larger. Each word hung like a dirge, echoing against the walls of the house that had once felt safe. The face I had known since childhood now seemed a mask, cracking under the weight of something insidious lurking just beneath the surface. Mom. My own voice strained to break free of disbelief. What are you talking about? Where's Alex? I met her gaze, searching for any shred of recognition, for the woman I loved, but instead found an abyss staring back. Not here. Her response was flat, the corners of her mouth twitching with an eerie calm. You should have stayed away. You have no idea what's coming. No idea. I repeated, climbing the wall of panic rising in my chest. They threatened us. Jared, whoever he, ISIS after Alex, and you know it. We need to protect him. Anna stood frozen beside me, her eyes darting between the two of us, torn between fear and a sense of misplaced loyalty. As the silence stretched between us, I attempted to reconcile the incongruence of my mother's demeanor. Leave now, she urged, and there was a force behind her words that sent a chill rippling through the room. You're in over your heads, but Mom, enough. She shouted, her voice cutting through my resistance like glass. This isn't just about you anymore. You're playing with forces beyond your comprehension. As if on cue, shadows shimmied at the edges of the room, teasing hints of what lay beyond. I glanced at Anna, her brow creased in concern. We can't leave Alex, I insisted, the determination brewing within me refusing to dissipate. My mother took a cautious step forward, her eyes darkening, simmering with an unsettling intensity. It's too late. He's already involved, and it will only bring you pain. You should have never come back here. An unexpected warmth surged through me, a flicker of indignation ignited by her warning. We're not just going to let him fall, Mom. He's our brother. I don't care what darkness you think you're protecting him from. That flicker brimming inside me transformed, taking root and blossoming into a fire of resolve. The moment felt fragile, as if the slightest gust could blow it away, but something powerful churned within. Anna shifted beside me, her voice frail yet resolute. Your family may be scared, but we can't abandon him. We have to unite against whatever is threatening you. For a fleeting moment, my mother hesitated, her expression wavering with the hint of vulnerability before hardening again. You don't understand the price, then explain it to us. I pressed, my heart racing with the urgency of those words. If it means keeping our family intact, then I need to know, but before she could reply, the ground trembled beneath us, a faint rumbling, a foreboding herald of the calamity poised to unfold. The lights flickered, and I could almost hear whispers weaving through the stillness, echoing from the walls. "Run!" she shouted suddenly, motioning wildly toward the back of the house. "There isn't much time. They've come for you, and they won't stop." Surreal panic gripped me. I grabbed Anna's arm, my pulse quickening, and threw myself toward the back door, wrestling with doubt. "Mom, you can come with us," her features contorted anguish battling against the cold resolve. "If you stay, they'll kill you. Save your brother." I hesitated, torn between the instinct to defend my family and the instinct to flee. The shadows flickered, and I could feel the air crackle around us like electricity before the storm finally broke free, and a deafening crash exploded through the quiet. Go! Anna screamed, wrapping her fingers around mine. We lunged through the door just as it burst open, framing a dark figure silhouetted against the storm. Rain poured down, mingling with the chaos as shards of glass littered the ground. In that moment of swift desperation, I caught a glimpse of what was to come. A chilling sense of inevitability settled deep in the pit of my stomach as we sprinted away from the house, me heart racing, each glance back revealing my mother against the chaos, caught in a web of moral decay I couldn't begin to untangle. But before we could gain distance, a voice called out from the darkness. "You should have listened." It was Jared, his face now illuminated by the streetlight, the cruel twist of a smile curving his lips mocked the panic lacing through my veins. Behind him stood the two men, their expressions unreadable yet menacing, the storm raging above as an ominous backdrop to the confrontation descending upon us. "Don't you see?" Jared continued, his tone laced with amusement. "You're worth so much more than just a pawn in this game. You're the key to something far greater." Something inside me snapped. "I'm not playing your twisted game," I shouted, voice cracking under the weight of my own defiance. But as I took a step back, pulling Anna with me, I felt a surge of dread again grip my chest. I needed to put a stop to this, but what if standing against Jared meant losing everything? The raindrops intensified, each one a reminder of the impending storm gathering above, both inside our hearts and looming beyond the threshold of this nightmare. And I couldn't shake the desperate thought, what if my mother was right all along? I held tightly to Anna, searching for an escape route, for a way out of this spiral of darkness. But a single revelation dawned upon me, leaving my heart racing with dread, a looming question that I wouldn't allow to take root. What if this was not just about Alex? What if the true betrayal ran deeper, entwined in the very fabric of my own family? "Run!" I yelled, the storm carving sharp scars in my resolve, the clock ticking downward as shadows crept closer with every fleeting breath. And as we surged forward in a desperate flight from the remnants of a shattered world, panic unfurled like a tempest in my soul, leaving us spiraling into an abyss from which I feared we might never emerge. The rain lashed against my skin, an icy reminder of the turmoil that raged not just outside, but within. We ran blindly through the night, the blurred outlines of trees and buildings forming a chaotic backdrop to my spiraling thoughts. With every step, the weight of the uncertainty pressed heavier against my chest, threatening to crush the fragile glimmer of hope I struggled to hold on to. "Where do we go now?" Anna panted beside me, her breath heaving as we stumbled through the darkened streets. I could see her fear etched in the lines of her face, the innocence I had held on to while navigating the wreckage of my childhood now replaced by a stark reality that neither of us were prepared to face. "That I don't know," I admitted, chest tightening around the words. "We need to figure out where they've taken Alex." A flash of lightning illuminated the path ahead, and for a moment, I could see the dread spreading through the horizon, a dark omen of what awaited us if we didn't act fast. My heart raced, not only with fear but with a nagging resentment that gnawed at my core. Why hadn't my mother told me the truth? What was she trying to protect us from, and at what cost? As we rounded a corner, I noticed a dim light flickering in the distance, barely cutting through the heavy rain. "There!" I pointed, hope bubbling to the surface despite the dread clawing at my insides. That we dashed toward the light, emboldened by the possibility of refuge. As we drew closer, I could see it was an old diner, its neon sign humming feebly beneath layers of rainwater. Relief crashed over me, mingling with the threads of anxiety still tangled in my mind. Inside, the warmth enveloped us, a stark contrast to the storm outside. The familiar scent of coffee and grilled food filled the air, triggering a flood of nostalgia that momentarily eased my frayed nerves. A few patrons glanced up as we entered, the muted buzz of their conversations dying down as they registered our soaked clothes and distressed faces. "Are you two all right?" asked a kind woman behind the counter, her brow furrowed with concern. "You look like you've been through a war." It's complicated," I stammered, trying to catch my breath. "We need help, our brother is missing." The weight of that truth settled heavily on my tongue, almost choking me. She nodded, empathy flashing in her eyes. "Sit. I'll get you both some hot chocolate, and we can figure this out." As she moved away, I felt an unexpected warmth spread through my chest, a reminder that even amidst chaos, kindness still flickered like a flame. "Do you think she can help?" Anna asked, her voice low, anxiety still coloring her features. "That I don't know, but we need someone on our side," I replied, the tremor in my tone giving away the uncertainty I tried to quell. "But if Jared finds us?" "Stop. Let's not think about him right now." Anna placed her hand on mine, grounding me momentarily. "We need to focus on where Alex might be." I nodded, but the shadows of doubt still clung to me. As we sat down at a booth in the far corner, I couldn't help but replay my mother's words over and over in my head. "You should have never come back here." The fear that perhaps she knew more than she let on gnawed at my resolve. The waitress returned with 2 steaming mugs, the aroma wrapping around us like a promise of safety. "All right, kids, what do you know?" she asked, leaning against the counter with an attentive look. Taking a deep breath, I recounted the pieces of the puzzle as they swirled in my mind. Alex's disappearance, the strange warnings, the darkness that enveloped our home. The more I spoke, the more I felt the cracks widen a breach in the fragile steadiness I had created. It was easy to see my fear written all over Anna's face, our shared worry deepening pain I longed to shield her from. As I spoke, I glimpsed something in the corner of the diner. A figure shrouded in shadows, sat at the counter, sipping coffee, meticulously observing. My heart dropped. The moment I recognized him, dread pooled in my gut. It was Jared. I ever so slightly leaned towards Anna, my voice trembling as I whispered, "He's here." Her eyes widened, and before we could react, the door swung open with a powerful rush of wind, the conversation in the diner quieting to a hush. Jared stepped through, his presence suffocating, and my heart raced with fear as I pleaded with my eyes for him not to see us. "What a coincidence," he said, his voice smooth yet menacing. "I was just looking for you two." Before I could gather my thoughts, the waitress placed a protective hand against her chest, looking torn and fearful. "You can't come in here," she warned, her tone shifting to one of defiance. "This is a safe place." "Safe?" Jared laughed, dark and hollow, drawing closer. "No one is safe from me, darling. You must know that by now." As he approached, I felt Anna squeeze my hand, fear mingling with resolve. I wanted to run, but my feet felt planted to the ground, a sense of disbelief washing over me. Was this the place I thought we could regroup? Jared's twisted smile only widened as he leaned in closer. "What if I told you that your mother isn't just trying to protect you? What if she is one of us?" The words hung in the air, heavy and layered with unspoken truths. My heart lurched, reality rapid-firing inside my mind. Anna's eyes met mine, shock paralyzing our thoughts as layers of betrayal began to peel away, revealing the dark core of our family, the very essence of the war we had slipped into without knowing. "Stop," I choked out, desperation clawing at my throat. "Just stop." But as the diner buzzed with an eerie tension, an unsettling chill coursed through my veins, an unshakable truth forming in my gut. Perhaps we had followed our hearts into this storm only to find ourselves at the precipice of an even greater betrayal, one that might tear apart everything we had ever believed in. With the air thickening in silence, the surprise of his revelation planted a seed of horror in my mind, and in that heart-stopping moment, my world began to crumble once more. The weight of Jared's words echoed in the dim diner, wrapping around me like the storm outside, oppressive and inescapable. For an agonizing moment, Time seemed to freeze, the warm atmosphere now charged with an undercurrent of dread. Anna's hand felt cold in mine, its grip tightening as though she feared the fragile bond we'd shared would shatter under the looming threat. "Please, leave us alone," I stammered, desperation clawing at my throat. I could hardly recognize the defiance in my own voice, laced with the hope that it might somehow weaken the demons lurking in Jared's sharp gaze. Jared tilted his head, amusement tracing his features as he spoke. "But I'm offering you the truth. Don't you want to know what she's hiding? What we're all a part of?" His smirk deepened, and in that moment, I could almost feel the atmosphere shift around us, a spectator to the dark play unfolding. No. "We don't want anything from you," Anna shouted defiantly, a flame sparking in her once timid demeanor. Fear still raged within her but now became a fiery wall of defense. "Oh, sweet Anna," he mocked, his tone dripping with false affection. "That stubbornness will get you hurt. You really ought to listen more to your brother. He's not exactly wrong about Mom's secrets." He leaned closer, the musky scent of his cologne mingling with the greasy aroma of the diner. "Imagine knowing your mother is part of something larger, something terrible." I glanced at Anna, her distress mirrored my own, but there was a new resilience in her eyes. "What do you know?" I challenged, a hint of resolve breaking through the icy fear enveloping me. He chuckled darkly. "Oh, I know quite a bit, but that wouldn't be as fun as watching you two try to figure it out yourselves. You both think you can play the victims, but you've been dealt cards that you can't even fathom yet." He beckoned to the waitress, his smile uncomfortably charismatic. "Tell them, sweetie. Tell them what's really going on." The waitress hesitated, her kind demeanor wavering under Jared's penetrating stare. My heart sank further. She was not just an innocent bystander, she was trapped in a web of secrets we had yet to uncover. "Two can't," she murmured, her voice small. The glow of her empathy flickered, and suddenly she was merely a reflection of the fear that gripped me. "Maybe you can't, but I could help." Jared's voice was silk, wrapping around her uncertainty, and I watched as her resolve seemed to crumble beneath his charisma. "Think about it. Keeping secrets only leads to more danger. You don't want to be on their side, do you?" The chatter in the diner had diminished, a whirlwind of eyes watching this confrontation as though our pain was a spectacle. Anger bubbled within me, but it had nowhere to go. I was locked in paralyzing fear and confusion. Were my mother's actions truly rooted in the darkness that Jared insinuated, or was this an elaborate manipulation? "Just leave us alone, Jared," I said, my voice firmer now. "If you're here to talk, you're wasting your breath." "But I'm not leaving until we've had our little chat," he replied, genuinely cheerful. "And I believe your mother wouldn't mind me revealing a few surprises. We all deserve answers, don't we?" A surge of adrenaline struck me. I had to act. I could talk to him, distract him, give Anna time to escape. "You think you can intimidate us, don't you?" I challenged, forcing every ounce of courage I found into my words. But as I squared myself toward him, a part of me wondered if I was merely making myself a target. Intimidation? He raised an eyebrow, a laugh spilling from his lips. "Oh no, dear brother. This is about enlightenment. It's the future that you both should fear." Suddenly, the door swung open with a roar, startling us all. A man with a wild-eyed intensity barged in, rain-soaked and frantic. "You too," he shouted, locking eyes with me and Anna. "You have to come with me. Now. It's not safe here." Panic surged through the diner, locals exchanging uneasy glances as Jared turned his attention toward the newcomer, a flicker of interest igniting in his eyes. "And who might you be?" he asked, his tone deceptively calm. "Stay out of this," the man snapped, his gaze locked onto Jared with palpable animosity. "This isn't your fight. Get away from them, and why should I listen to you?" Jared responded, a smirk curling his lips. "Because I know the truth about you too," the man retorted, voice strained with urgency, desperation coloring his words. "Don't make me reveal it." Jared's expression shifted, irritation slicing through his calm demeanor, a crack appearing in his facade of control. "We don't need any more interruptions," he hissed. But the man stepped forward, his bravado unwavering. "I'm not leaving without the Morgan kids. If you want to fight, then let's talk about what happens next. Because they are not who you think they are." A chill swept through me at his proclamation. Instinct surged, and I realized with dread that my future was spiraling even further beyond my control. What was this man's connection to our family, to the very fabric of the darkness tangled in our lives? Jared's eyes gleamed with barely contained malice as he stepped back, weighing his options. "I see we have more players than expected. But I assure you, this game is far from over." As he relinquished his hold on the moment, I could feel the tension snapping like a thread. Suddenly, there were too many variables in the air, and too many secrets waiting to unravel. In that instant, every choice we had made led us to a precipice that felt poised to collapse at any moment, and as Jared slipped back into the shadows with a menacing grin, dread coated my heart, heavy with the knowledge that the true battle was yet to come. The storm's ferocity outside mirrored the quiet chaos unfolding within the diner, raindrops splattering against the windows like the tears I'd been holding back. The stranger's presence hovered heavily around us, a beacon of urgent chaos amid the tension Jared had orchestrated. But who was he? Or more importantly, what did he mean when he declared that we weren't who Jared thought we were? "Please," Anna whispered, her voice trembling. "We should go. No, wait," I urged, feeling the ground beneath us quaking with uncertain possibilities. The last thing we needed was to plunge headfirst into further mystery without understanding the stakes involved. A sudden thought struck me as I barely managed to keep both hope and fear in check. "What do you know about our parents?" The stranger hesitated, eyes darting to the surrounding diners who were still watching us with an unfiltered mix of curiosity and trepidation. "We can't talk here. Not with him around." His gaze turned to Jared, who was leaning back in his booth, faux nonchalance cloaked in menace. "And why should I believe you?" I pressed, catching the tremor in my voice. "For all we know, you could be a part of whatever madness Jared is peddling." A fleeting flash of hurt passed across the stranger's face. "Because I've been where you are. I lost someone who knew the truth." His eyes softened as they landed on Anna. "I can't let you both be caught in this storm unprotected." The urgency in his tone tugged at my instincts. The thought of continuing this conversation with Jared lurking was suffocating. "What does this have to do with our mother?" I demanded, desperation entwining with the remnants of hope. There had to be a glimmer of truth, something that could lead us out of this nightmare. For a fraction of a second, the man looked torn between speaking or sealing his lips tight against the unleashed secrets. "Your mother, she wanted to protect you. She's been keeping things from you for your own good. It's bigger than you think." "Stop talking in riddles." Anna's voice rose, her frustration mingling with her fear, echoing the tempest clawing at the windows. "Just tell us what's going on." "The organization," he began, voice lowered to a near whisper. "They've been watching you since before you were born. The truth about your family, it connects to something dark and powerful. Your mother knew, and she did what she could to hide you from it. She thought she could create a normal life before he could finish," Jared interjected, his smile slithering back into view. "Oh, come on now. This is boring." He leaned forward, eyes glinting with a tantalizing mix of mischief and malice. "What a delight it is to see desperate souls clinging to the shattered remnants of hope." "Shut up," I shouted, defiance boiling over, pitting that fiery anger against paralyzing fear. "You think you can dictate our lives, but you can't control us." "Oh, but sweet child," he crooned, his voice dripping with condescension. "You have no idea just how intertwined our fates are. What you fight to uncover could bring ruin or salvation. Your mother's secrets are the key. If only you'd let me guide you." Before I could respond, the man beside us moved, stepping toward Jared, an unfamiliar fire igniting behind his eyes. "You're using them," he spat back, voice imbued with fierce conviction. "But they have the right to know the truth. You're nothing but a charlatan. The truth will come for you, Jared." Our eyes darted between them, the tension heightening as an unholy silence engulfed the diner. In that moment, the flickering neon from the diner's sign cast ghostly light upon the walls, illuminating Jared's face, twisted with a mix of anger and amusement. "That I look forward to this dance," Jared taunted, stepping back as the wild-eyed man closed the distance between us. The palpable rush of energy crackled in the air, an amalgamation of fear and revelation hanging in every breath we took. A sudden shout from the back. The cook was yelling, demanding that the newcomers leave. The diners, who moments ago were mere witnesses, seemed on the verge of becoming reluctant participants in the unfolding storm. My heart raced, weaving in and out of possibilities, each one more disastrous than the last. "Listen," I said, voice steadier now, summoning the remnants of courage left within me. "We will not let you control us, Jared. Whatever games you're playing, we won't become pawns in a sick scheme." Jared's laughter was tinged with menace. "Ah, the fire in your voice. But remember, every flame can be extinguished. This isn't over, not by a long shot." With that, he turned, leaving the booth with a sinister sway, looking over his shoulder only to flash a mocking smile, a wicked spark igniting the gloom that surrounded us. "Let's go," the stranger urged again, a firm hand on my shoulder, grounding me amid the rising whirlwind. "There's no time to lose." As we took hesitant steps toward the exit, something in Jared's absence felt even more ominous. A lingering sense of dread wrapped tight around me. Our lives had shifted irrevocably. Whatever had just begun would only lead to deeper darkness, and I could feel it creeping in as shadows danced upon the walls. In that rush toward the door, I grasped Anna's hand, hoping we could escape what lay ahead. "We don't know anything yet," I whispered, propelling us into the chaos outside, but just before we crossed the threshold, a voice from beyond the storm caught me. "You will wish you never knew." It was Jared, his silhouette framed in the doorway, a haunting closing statement echoing in my memory as I stepped into the tempest of uncertainty, the cold rain drenching our fears anew. The rain pounded relentlessly as we staggered into the downpour, adrenaline surging alongside dread creeping in like the bitter chill of night. The stranger led us through the chaotic streets, each drop a painful reminder of the confrontation we had just left behind. A darkened world lay before us, but we had no choice but to forge ahead, desperation guiding our steps. "Where are we going?" I shouted over the storm, scanning our surroundings for any hint of safety. "To my car. I can explain everything there," he replied, his urgency palpable as he maneuvered through the torrents with grim determination. His breath came in quick bursts, and I glimpsed the tension coiling in his shoulders, shadows of his own burdens woven into the fabric of the storm. Anna stumbled next to me, her breath catching with the weight of the chaos. "Do you think we can trust him?" she questioned, a flicker of vulnerability cracking through her composed exterior. "I don't know," I admitted, the wind stealing my words. "But I can't face Jared again without answers." Yet even as I spoke, fluttering doubt seeped into my heart. The stranger's urgency felt genuine, but the lingering sting of Jared's taunts lingered like a specter, haunting me. Finally, we reached a nondescript sedan parked under an awning. The stranger fumbled with his keys, the sound of rain drumming against the metal mingling with the frantic pace of my heartbeat. "Get in," he urged. "We don't have time to waste." As we slipped into the cramped back seat, the stranger slid in beside us, his eyes flickering with determination and something far deeper, an anchor of compassion that drew me in. Locking the doors, he turned to face us, the dim interior exposing the lines of worry etched deeply on his face. "I'm sorry for how things unfolded back there," he began, his voice low. "But if you want to understand the truth, you need to hear it all." "What do you know about our mother?" Anna demanded, her voice high and laced with desperation. "If she's hiding things, we deserve to know why. She thought she was protecting you both," he said, words tumbling out like a frayed thread. "Your family is intertwined with an organization that delves into dangerous realm secrets that can unravel lives." I was hoping to stop it. "Stop what?" I pressed, bewilderment blurring the outline of my understanding. "What does any of this have to do with us?" He paused, gathering his thoughts as if they were as fragile as glass. "Your mother was once involved, a key figure in keeping a dangerous artifact from falling into the wrong hands. But when she started a family, she wanted out. The organization didn't see it that way." Fear trickled back into my veins, hot and ominous. And now Jared, what does he want? Control. Chaos. Power. He leaned closer, his voice a tremor of urgency. He believes acquiring that artifact will make him invincible, a master of forces that no one can comprehend. And you could be the key to everything. Your mother's past has a direct line to what he's after. That I felt my heart lurch, the implications spiraling out of control. Each revelation thrust against the walls of my mind, collapsing under the weight of buried memories. My parents, me mother, she kept this from us. This was her decision, not entirely, he said softly. I also thought I'd gain answers by finding you both, but I never anticipated just how deep this goes. There's so much at stake. Stop. Anna interjected, clenching her fists in her lap. Just tell us what we need to do. We can't let him get away with this. The stranger's gaze broke momentarily, something unreadable flickering within him. If we can find the artifact first, perhaps we can turn the tides on Jared. But you must trust me, he said, brow furrowing as he added, and each other. Before we could respond, a shout pierced the air, and shadows danced in the rain-soaked streets as figures emerged, cloaked in dark jackets and illuminated by the flash of streetlights. My heart sank as dread unfurled within me, a chilling realization that this was far from over. Who are they? I stammered, panic threading through my voice as I pressed my back against the seat. Just stay calm, the stranger urged, though I could see the uncertainty gnawing at his confidence. It'll distract them. You too, find a way to escape. The streets echoed with the low growl of menace as the figures approached, and my heart raced against the tide of impending chaos. No. I blurted out, desperation clawing at me. You can't go alone. This is our fight too. Trust me when I say you need to protect yourselves first. I'll do what I must, he insisted, eyes alight with a fierce resolve, igniting a flicker of admiration. Wait. There's got to be. But before I could finish my thought, he threw open the door and sprinted out into the storm, his figure swallowed whole by the darkened night. Panic tightened around us, and Anna grabbed my wrist. What do we do? She whispered, eyes wide in terror. That I didn't know. I didn't have answers, only the jarring fear of what Jared wanted and the shrouded forbidding nature of our lineage. We can't just stay here, I said, adrenaline pumping with urgency. Then, a sharp noise shattered the tension, followed by angry shouts that echoed through the rain. Confusion erupted as the shadowed figures lunged forward, and a crushing realization settled upon me. The tangled web of our past had just ensnared us, tightening ever more. As chaos enveloped us, I felt something cold slip from my fingers. My phone. I had been so focused on the unfolding events that I hadn't noticed. Glancing back, I saw the screen flickering with a new message, a link lighting up amidst the darkness. Will you stand against the storm or allow it to consume you? My heart raced as I grasped my phone once more, an unmistakable itch of impending danger coursing through my veins. I didn't have time to consider the choice. I needed to act, and fast. Hastily, I gripped Anna's hand, determination igniting within me. We have to go. We have to fight for the truth. And as we stepped into the chaos, the wind howled louder than any revelation could concern, our fates hanging in the balance of a truth we hadn't yet dared to confront. I felt the weight of the storm above us, the rain drenching my skin, and a gnawing dread settled deep within as we sprinted away from the chaos that Jared's presence had ignited. Every street corner we turned felt foreign, as though the very fabric of our lives had shifted overnight. My heart raced in tandem with Anna's, her fingers gripping my wrist tightly as we ran, driven by fear, by desperation, and by a fire to uncover the truth that had remained hidden for too long. Where do we go now? Anna gasped, breathless yet resolute as we ducked into a narrow alley lined with shadows. How can we keep Alex safe? I don't know, I replied, a surge of frustration flooding my words. But we need to think. We need a plan. As I glanced over my shoulder, the echoes of Jared's laughter replayed in my mind, a beacon of twisted mirth that taunted our struggle. The truth felt both distant and ominous. Underneath the layers of betrayal, the whispers of familiar secrets clinging to our hearts like shadows spoke of a legacy intertwined with danger. If Jared was watching us, if he had the connections to bring our nightmare to fruition, then time was a luxury we could not afford. That we can't let him win, I breathed, a flicker of determination igniting in my chest. Whatever it takes, we have to find Alex before it's too late. Suddenly, a flicker of light caught my eye outside the alley. An old street lamp flickered hesitantly, and beside it, a figure emerged from the rain-soaked haze. My heart sank into my stomach when I recognized him. Alex! I shouted, stepping out into the downpour, the sudden jolt of hope threading through the chaos. There he stood, drenched and disheveled but undeniably alive. Get away from here! He shouted, panic lacing his voice as his eyes widened in alarm. They're coming for us. In that moment, something inside me broke free. The fear that had shackled me transformed into resolute courage. No. We're not running anymore, Alex. We're fighting for our family even if it means confronting whatever darkness lies ahead, I declared, stepping forward with my hands clenched at my sides. Have you lost your mind? He shouted back, his voice desperate, but I could see a flicker of defiance rising in his eyes. We don't know what they want from us. I know, I urged, heart pounding in my chest. But if we confront this together, we might unravel what Mom has been hiding. Perhaps there's a way to stop them. Together, Anna interjected, her voice steady, as she stepped forward, leaning on her own sense of resolve. Whatever secrets our family carries, we have to own our story now. Hiding will only give them power. Alex hesitated, glancing between us, and then he nodded, the weight of trust forming anew in his gaze. Fine. Then let's face them head-on. With a shared understanding binding us, we pressed on, heading towards the town square, where the faint glow of lights mingled with the thundering rain. The street, usually bustling with life, was now eerie, shadows flitted, and an unsettling silence echoed. Desire fueled our resolve, the need for answers, the urgency to reclaim our lives. Just as we neared the center of the square, the familiar silhouette emerged from the treacherous darkness, Jared, flanked by those menacing figures. The smugness that danced on his lips ignited something primal in me, a raging fire that demanded justice. Look who decided to show up, he mused, his voice dripping with mockery. The Morgans think they can confront their destiny. What do you want? I shouted back, fear coiling in my stomach but hardening into steel. Why torment us? Torment? Jared chuckled, the sound slicing through the rain-soaked stillness. I'm merely guiding you toward what's rightfully yours. You've hidden long enough, and it's time to embrace the family legacy. You'd be fools not to. What legacy? Alex challenged, stepping closer, fists clenched at his sides. All I see is betrayal and secrecy. It's up to you now, Jared replied, his smile widening. You could join us and uncover unthinkable power. Or you could cower in your naivete. The choice is yours. With those words, the world around me fell silent, the air electrifying as I searched for my brother and Anna's eyes. They were filled with fear and determination, a shared understanding framing the moment that a choice presented itself to us, a chance to redefine our destinies. I stepped forward, heart racing against a tempest of possibilities. No. We are not your pawns, Jared. We refuse to play your games. We'll forge our path even if it's into battle. As I spoke, I felt an overwhelming surge explode within me, as if the echoes of every unspoken fear and tear shed had crystallized into a force that demanded acknowledgement. It was a legacy we wouldn't walk away from. With a flick of his wrist, Jared signaled, and the men behind him shifted, ready to pounce. So be it, he hissed, his grin twisting into a snarl. This ends here. I screamed back, racing forward in unyielding determination. For the first time, I felt a spark of clarity. The labyrinth of shadows that our family had known was about to collide with the fierceness of our willpower, the storm raging above a glorified battleground. That I and the chaos, I could see Anna and Alex move beside me, the three of us united as our strength surged forth like a beacon. We didn't just share blood, we guarded hope and defiance, tethered together by the promise of reclaiming our truth. In that moment, Everything around us shifted as our fates intertwined. Jared's darkness would not hold us, we would rise as the light breaking through the storm. With our hearts thundering, we charged forward together, defiance blazing in our souls, ready to uncover the family legacy that had held us captive for too long. As we embraced the impending tempest, the world faded around us, but one sentence echoed in my mind, ringing true as we took our stand: sometimes the greatest battles are fought not just with strength, but with the unwavering courage to choose love over fear.